First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. If you have watched us before, thank you. And if it's your first time joining, thank you also. We are live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We're on our YouTube channel. I want to emphasize that, so you can go there and take a look at this if you're watching live or afterward. You can watch all our segments, sending at kptv.com and on the Fox 12 Oregon apps. Now that you know that, let's talk about a film festival that is having its 10th anniversary, taking place over at OMSI. I'm talking about Studio Ghibli Film Fest, and we're going to discuss that and educate you in case you don't know what that is. If you do know, we'll tell you what to be excited about for this year. And to do all that, we have Dr. Patrick Terry from the PSU School of Film and more. I know you do a lot more than just that too, but there's only so much I can fit in on a lower third. Doctor, thank you. Thanks for being here with us. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, let's start off with this. For anybody who doesn't know, could you give everyone the basic understanding of Ghibli?
So the most common way to think of Studio Ghibli, just in terms of animation style storytelling, would be to think of it as a Disney studio in Japan, in that it has lush animation, full cell, hand-drawn animation. So this kind of connects us more to the Disney that we think of Cinderella, Pinocchio, all the way up to the Renaissance with Lion King and Little Mermaid, less so the more CGI focused films. So, you know, Ghibli will have CGI movements, but they're still really emphasizing their hand-drawn animation. But as you can see, like with Cat Bus behind me from Totoro, you have really rich characters, lots of vibrant colors, you know, cute characters like Totoro behind me. These things that, you know, immediately from a very young age are characters that people can grab onto. You know, my daughter has had a stuffy of Totoro since she was, you know, 3 years old, loves it, you know, still cherishes these characters. And so that, not unlike Disney, they're characters you grow with through your life. And so I think that in terms of our engagement with Ghibli, that's probably the most like clear way to think of why there's an enduring fascination with this studio and their films.
I mean, that makes sense, especially, you know, as you mentioned with your daughter, you know, at a young age. I'm sure for a lot of people, they get to know these characters just like people do with Disney. And then that's part of, yeah, that's lifelong. You don't forget that. For the studio itself, how long has Studio Ghibli been around?
Well, you know, it's kind of an interesting serendipity where we have the 10th anniversary of this festival that's happening at OMSI, and this is actually the 40th anniversary of Ghibli's founding. And so they have kind of a quibbling precursor film called Nausicaa Valley of the Wind that came out in 1984, but that was produced by a company called Topcraft, and they wanted to basically keep the same creative people together, and those people then founded Ghibli the following year. And so we have our first Ghibli feature film in 1986 with Castle of the Sky, or Laputa, and we go from there to all of our lovely characters from Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, which just had its 20th anniversary screening last week when the festival began. They opened with Howl's Moving Castle to kind of commemorate that 20th anniversary. So we have, again, over 40 years, some wonderful benchmark films that we can return to. And again, with OMSI's empirical theater and the empirical screen, it's really one of the, you know, one of those lifelong memory building moments to be able to go watch one of these films. And I think that, again, is part of why in its 10th year, there are still many sold out screenings, and there's an encouragement on the festival organizers to keep providing new inventive ways to enjoy these films.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of anniversaries all kind of lining up here for this in part. But yeah, this is the 10th anniversary of this film festival there at OMSI. And I guess, what is it, do you think, that's so important for the film community here in Portland and fans of Studio Ghibli, that this festival is going for this long and still bringing in so many people and selling out events?
Well, on a first sort of level, it's G Kids, the distributor in North America of Ghibli. They've done a fantastic job to keep Ghibli as a very known property, so that there are avenues and means to watch it, whether it's home video, streaming on different services, or going to the OMSI Festival. But what distinguishes the OMSI Festival, of course, is that it's once a year, so it's not something you can go to year round. And again, having a theater screen of this size, you basically feel immersed in the world of that film. So I've had the fortune to see Spirited Away, Boy and the Heron last year when it premiered, and you're just taken in by this screen. It's slightly curved, but fills the room. So when you're sitting in the Empirical Theater, no matter where you are, there is a sort of an immense scale and size, and the detail of the animation, every movement and character step or head twitch takes on a bigger importance than being able to watch it on almost any screen that you could have in your home viewing opportunity. So whether you're seeing this for the first time or you're coming back to a film you've seen many, many times, you will see things that you can't in any other venue.
That is something too that's so important, I think, about film as well. I love watching movies at home, but there is something about an experience like that and a theater like that too. That's really unique on so many levels. So let's talk about the festival. I mean, you mentioned part of it right there, and I want to reiterate that point as well. But for somebody out there who has never been to the Studio Ghibli Festival, whether they're a fan currently and just haven't been, or maybe they're brand new, what can they expect? What can they expect when they walk into this?
Well, kind of what I was mentioning, the theater organizers, I think, have been developing this program over time where traditionally you would buy your ticket, you'd go sit in the theater. It's general seating, so you really have an opportunity to pick around as you arrive. So sometimes you might show up a little early to get into queue for some of the popular events. But beyond a traditional theater experience, they're also doing things like their opening night, like they did last week, where they include food and they include some small trinkets, maybe a sticker or a program that goes along with your experience. You have a little bit of a physical memento to commemorate the event you went to. And then they're also this time doing Real Eats, REEL Eats, for Totoro. And those events are promoted pretty highly because, again, they are connecting specific menu items, cuisine, with the screening. So you'll be able to, again, have a little bit more of a sensory experience than even just going and seeing your regular, event, whether you went to, something like a Regal or an AMC. Here is something, very dedicated to this festival. And beyond that, you are, of course, going to have people in the audience who have seen these films many times, or people who are a little bit more excited than seeing it in a traditional venue because there's some more pomp and circumstance built around going to these screenings. And beyond that, there's then also the opportunity to see subtitled or dubbed versions of these films because some people really connect themselves to a particular voice cast, or maybe you're learning Japanese and it's a way for you to kind of keep up your learning language abilities. So there's something for everyone to be able to take part in the festival. And again, I think that's part of why we're having enduring success with this series here at OMSI.
I like that. I mean, that does bring, no matter what level you're at. I also love that food pairing, the Real Eats thing. That's a really great idea, pairing that
Yeah.
with the film. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Uh,
the screenings I think have done really well in terms of ticket sales, so I think it'll encourage more of that type of programming in the years to come.
yeah, I'd like to see that for all kinds of things. I'm fully down with that idea.
Yeah.
I guess for one more question to you, and you obviously being there at PSU and the School of Film, in addition to everything else that you do, how important are film festivals like this for the community in Portland in general? Whether it's Ghibli or anything else, but I mean, something celebrating this particular artwork and this particular style, to have this opportunity for people to go out there and enjoy this together.
I mean, it's immensely important. I mean, we oftentimes are speaking in our department meetings about lifelong learners. We have, of course, our student body population that for different events that we host, we're encouraging them to take part in their, cinematic journey when they're in the School of Film, or just as something that is a public lecture that's open to all university and community members. But it's really those lifelong learners, the people that, have the time or the means to be perhaps on a board or a committee meeting, or people who just want to be able to attend events and take part in cultural elements that they haven't seen before. Would be really, really wonderful to be able to go to the festival to be able to take part of. I'm also a faculty member contingent with the Center for Japanese Studies, and we're oftentimes hosting events trying to get lifelong learners in addition to our class students or other people that are part of the university community to, again, reach out into these other avenues of people that have an interest in Japanese culture and just really need opportunities to be able to take part in them. And Ghibli really matches up with my own research background because I study the industry of Japan's filmmaking from the 1960s up through the 1990s. So right in the heyday when Ghibli is starting to have immense success and have this part of this animation boom that happened in the 1980s. Ghibli is right in the mix with those conversations. And it's just a joy to be able to not only talk with you about this, but also be able to provide introductory lectures at the festival so that, again, community members can have an opportunity to have, not a true academic lecture, but something that helps contextualize the films a bit more. And so in the case of this festival, on January 28th, I'll be providing an introductory talk to the tale of Princess Kaguya that came out in 2013 and is adapted from Japan's oldest piece of literature, the Bamboo Cutter Tale.
Wow. Okay, you hooked me right there. That's really interesting. So people can come in, they can find out a little bit, as you mentioned, some of the context of what it is that they're going to be able to go see, and then enjoy the film itself. Well, there's a lot going on there. So for everybody out there who wants to attend or find out more, what is the best way for them to do so?
If you just go to OMSI's website or just do a simple search for Ghibli Festival OMSI, it'll take you right to their scheduling page, and they have it set up in a really nice way where you can look at each film rather than just a strict calendar, and then select, again, the subtitled or dubbed version of that screening that you'd like to attend. Some of the screenings for this coming weekend have been selling really quickly, so I would encourage people to think towards later in the month and up through February, because, again, this festival is started last week and is going until February 9th. So there's still a lot of opportunities for you to go see nearly every one of Ghibli's films that they've ever produced.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. That's not, you should emphasize that too. Yeah, this is not just a weekend. This is a full month, basically, of opportunities there to go check that out. Well, Doctor, thank you very much for having some time to talk to us about this. Really interesting learning about it. And yeah, I love that idea of the history, and I do want to eat some food while I watch that. So it all works out. Something for everybody. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Greg.
And for everybody watching, we are live. We're going to take a break, so we'll sign off here for a bit, but we're on throughout the afternoon, so make sure you can come right back here to whatever platform you're on at 2 p.m. I'll be back, and if you're watching this after the fact, thanks for doing so. Please check out all the other segments and things that we do, and if you think there's something that would be worth a deeper dive or a segment or conversation like we just had, feel free to send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com, fox12now@kptv.com, and we will see if we can make that happen. Can't guarantee it, but we'll see what we can do. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.